My sister was the only sister of 7 brothers. Her name was Ariba. Ariba was very sweet. She was only 2 or 3 years younger than me. I was her friend and we lived like sisters. After marriage, she became the mother of 3 children in 6 years. Ariba seemed even more dear to me. Ariba was 27 years old. The reason she had not married yet was not that she did not have relationships. She had many relationships and all from good families. But my mother-in-law had some psychological problem that she would reject every relationship out of spite. Some even had relationships that were only for the lucky ones, but in the eyes of my mother, no one was spared. When the silver hair on Arabia's head started shining, Faisal and I were really drowning in a sea of thoughts. After much persuasion, my mother finally came to the conclusion that our mother-in-law could not bear the separation from her daughter, and that was why she was afraid of marrying her off. The solution to this problem was that we would keep the boy as a son-in-law. At that time, Sharjil's relationship came up. I told my husband, Faisal, this relationship is against them. The boy is single. His parents are deceased. He has his own business. His marriage was postponed because there were no parents, siblings, or anyone who could arrange a marriage. This relationship came through my husband's friend. The friend's wife, Sarwat, was his cousin. Sharjil was of the same appearance and was very polite. He was a 35-year-old educated businessman, well-educated, and wealthy. Such relationships are only found by fate. All 7 brothers agreed that they should settle a serious matter with Sharjil, and that he would definitely become a son-in-law. My mother-in-law agreed to this. When sister-in-law Sarwat came again to ask for Arabia's marriage, my mother-in-law said, "We are not married. My daughter is the only one and the sister of 7 brothers. We cannot separate her from ourselves. If Sharjil is willing to marry me, we are willing to marry her, but she will have to live with us for the rest of her life." Brother Sarwat said, "I will ask Sharjil and tell you." She spoke to Sharjil. She said, "If Ariba's brothers include me in their business and make me their partner, I have no objection to becoming the son-in-law of the house. Even so, I live alone." The brothers agreed to this condition, and thus Ariba got married. And he was given a portion above the house to live in. There must have been some disadvantages in being a son-in-law, but there was no such problem with us. After the wedding, Arab Bey and Sharjil started laughing with us. My husband included his brother-in-law in the business and gave him half of the share. Now the profit that comes in is divided equally between both of them. Sharjil had done business even during the marriage, but her business was failing. But when she partnered with my husband, the profit in the business started to double. We had no objection or resentment to this because Arabia was happy and our mother-in-law was also happy. Within 2 years of marriage, Arabia had 2 children. Our house was filled with the fragrance of tiny flowers. My children were now a little older and had started going to school, but her children were toddlers. The younger daughter, Hafsa, was not yet 2 years old when Arabia had another child. She was struggling to take care of them. Of course, I used to help a little, but I had my own children and also had household responsibilities. So, in those days, we were in dire need of a nanny, which we could not find. One day, we were all sitting at the dining table eating and joking among ourselves when there was a knock on the door. Our old maid, Amma Kishore, opened the door. Amma Kishore had lived with us for years, but she only cooked food. She did not do any work outside the kitchen nor did she take care of the children. "A little girl has come to work," they came and told her. Arabia quickly said, "Aman Kishore, let her come." I don't know what she is doing. I want a girl for the children. When this girl came, we all looked at her in surprise because she was so beautiful, so young and innocent that in our eyes she was fixated on her. As soon as she came, she started begging for her mother's life. My mother and I are helpless in this world. My mother is sick and cannot even work. It would be a great kindness if you would put me to work. We are very much in need. Auntie, I haven't even eaten anything since morning. Seeing tears in her eyes, our hearts melted. Mom made her sit in the car and fed her and asked her to bring her mother with her the next day. The next day, she brought her mother with her. Her mother looked really tired. She was very weak. She was panting after walking a few steps. Mom put the girl to work. Because Ariba needed more, from the next day she started coming to work very quickly and then she was very tired. She completed the work she was told to do within minutes. After finishing work, she would feed my uncle's children. She had a natural love for children that they quickly became familiar with her. Every day, they were happy to play with Rahana. Rahana would come at 8 in the morning and return home at 6 in the evening. Mom used to bring food for her mother every day. One day she didn't come. We were all worried that she might not have fallen in love because she never cries. When she came after 2 days, a woman was with her. Rahana's eyes were red and swollen, as if she had been crying day and night. The woman said, "I don't live in their neighborhood. Her mother is dead. Now Rahana has no one in this world. You should keep her at your house for the day and night because the hut she used to live in was now empty." We were very sad. The donkey comforted her. Mother hugged Rahana and said, "Daughter, now I am your mother. Don't worry. Stay in this house from today. We will take responsibility for your safety." The woman entrusted Rahana to us. During this time, Rahana proved to be a very good servant. She never gave anyone a chance to complain. She would do whatever she asked of us, but she took special care of Arabia and her children. Months and years passed until 5 years passed. Now Rahana, who was 11 years old when she came to our house, looked like 9 years old due to poverty, and now in 5 years she was a 16-year-old girl. She had become an individual in our house. Not once in 5 years had any of her relatives come to visit her at our house, which meant that if she had, she would have come sometime, or her relatives had already broken off relations with her mother. We all loved her very much and took care of her. Especially when Jan went to the market and shopped for us, we would definitely throw something in for her so that she would not feel deprived. At night, she would sleep in Jan's room. After finishing all the work, she would press Ami's legs. Later, she would lie down to sleep and wake up first in the morning. Eid ul-Fitr was approaching and preparations for Eid were going on in full swing. Jan went with Faisal and bought clothes for everyone and brought them to Rahana. The next day, Arabia and Sharjeel went out to buy their children, so they also did Eid shopping for them. It was the last day of the fast. There was a lot of excitement. Suddenly, the siren sounded and everyone rushed to the Hayat to see the moon. Rahana was also with us. Everyone's eyes were on Asan and the effort to find the Eid moon was going on. Suddenly, I turned around and saw Johanna walking towards the stairs with slow steps. Her manner was like a thief who was afraid of being caught. Sharjeel had called her. I felt a little suspicious. For the first time, she was walking in fear. So I also followed her with slow steps. She could not realize that someone was following her. I thought she had gone towards the kitchen, but she went towards Arabia's bedroom. Inside, my friend Sharjeel was lying on the bed and he had not come to see the moon with us. I stopped near the door and listened. She was saying, "Rahana, I have bought bangles for you and have hidden them from your aunt. Take them from the top of your cupboard. And why didn't you wear the bangles that I brought earlier?" She said. Then aunt asked, "Where did you get the bangles from?" What did I say? Why are you afraid? I will leave everyone who is with you, but I will not leave you. Look, if you wear the Eid shoes that I brought tomorrow, I will be angry. Don't wear them, my mother. Oh my God. I couldn't believe these words were uttered by Sharjeel, who had sacrificed his life for Ariba and was the father of 3 children. Seeing him infatuated with a maid, I felt a pang of guilt and felt the ground giving way under my feet. I don't know how much of Rahana's fault it was. She was still young, but Sharjeel Bai was a man of blessed age. Surely, his intentions had already been fulfilled. I was immersed in a sea of thoughts when Ariba's voice came, "Bobby. Bobby. Come here, where are you? The moon has appeared." Hearing Nan's voice, she quickly went downstairs and reached Ami Jan's room. She saw me with heavy breathing and asked, "What happened? Manihal, are you okay?" I barely said, "Yes, Ami Jan, the moon has appeared." "Yes, it has appeared. Why are you talking like that?" I don't know why I got so emotional that I told them everything while standing up. I didn't know that Arabia was standing behind me. She also heard the whole story word by word. She lost control of her anger and ran towards Rahana. What happened next? She started beating Rahana relentlessly. I tried to push her away but failed. Meanwhile, Sharjeel Bai heard the noise and came. Seeing Rahana drinking from her wife's hands, he also started stealing Rahana. He beat Ariba badly. When Ariba started abusing Rahana in anger, he held the girl's hand and left the house forever and ever, saying that Rahana is helpless. She needs help, not you. All this became meaningless, and everyone was left staring at her. Today, my grief is being cut by the widow, and she has become a thorn in her heart after sitting in meetings in grief. She prays all day and drinks patience for the sake of her children. Kar Ba is alive. Seeing my Nand in such a state makes me very sad, and I think, oh my. If only I had not become so emotional at that time and had acted wisely, then today her heart would not have been broken and neither would the house be destroyed. Even Sharjeel Bai would not have left the house. We would have somehow found a suitable wife and married her. But alas, I did not act wisely. When I became agitated and did not resolve the problem with patience and calmness, Ariba also got angry and left her nest. It is true that the wind of anger extinguishes the lamps of the mind. We were all living a happy life. I did not even think that this grass could catch fire and that too with a single spark.